Welcome to Park Center High School, the Park Center Holiday Showcase, an afternoon battle here between the Champlin Park Rebels and the Minnetonka Skippers. Hi, I'm Jay Wilcox, along with Carl Pearson, who was a former Champlin Park coach, former Waconia coach, and an exciting time for these teams. Champlin Park coming off a nice win over Eden Prairie, maybe somewhat unexpected, and certainly a nice win. They got a good first half and kind of had to hold off Eden Prairie in half number 2.
They're a young team that seems to be starting to figure some things out. We talked with Coach Steck before the game, and he said it's been a learning curve as he's got a bunch of new girls getting accustomed to his system. But they saw some success with it yesterday, and hopefully that builds some confidence.
Minnetonka played a very good Park Center team last night. Stuck with them really well in the first half, according to Coach Leah Dasovich, and then things kind of got away in the second. She's looking to see kind of how her kids respond to that. You know, obviously going to be a little bit disappointed, but how do you bounce back on day 2 here?
Well, this is an important game for Minnetonka. You've got 2 quality 4A schools going head-to-head, and Minnetonka's in a very competitive section. Prior Lake and Chanhassen and Eden Prairie in their section, so every non-conference win is really important, and to get a win here against Champlin Park today would be key for them.
Talk about key players to look at in this one. Starting with Champlin Park, Maya DuBose is one of their returners that's had some experience, and they don't have many seniors, just a couple on their team. And she's somebody that they're really going to count on, can be really pesky defensively, averaging about 8 points per game for them. But she's a player who can get up and bother the dribbler a little bit. And then for Minnetonka, a player who's still young grade-wise, but Desiree Ware really in her second full season as a starter and a very capable scorer for them.
I'm unfortunately very familiar with Desiree Ware. We played Minnetonka last year as I coached at Waconia, and part of our game plan was to back off and let her shoot. We knew she was a tremendous slasher and driver, not as good of a three-point shooter, and then she torched us and made about 7 or 8 three-pointers. So she can beat you inside and outside, but she is the thing that makes their offense go.
Coach Dasovich expects a slower-paced game tonight. Park Center really wanted to get up on them, and then they ended up having to play some zone. She said this time probably going to be a more low-scoring game, but you know, you kind of have to be able to adapt to different opponents and adapt to what different opponents do, and I think both teams will have to do that today.
Coach Dasovich has been around for a long time, and she's a tremendous coach. She'll have her team ready to play any pace that Champlin Park might want to dictate, but I think that's a key for Minnetonka too, is don't let Champlin Park dictate the pace.
Champlin Park a little bit short-handed today with one of their better players out with an illness too, so we'll see how the Rebels respond to that part of thing with their depth chart just a little bit thinner. Stay tuned, it is Champlin Park and Minnetonka, and later on Saturday night, the big one, Hopkins and Park Center here from this gym on CCX Sports.
CCX Media, your source for great local programming, is now available on Roku and Apple TV. Our free app allows you to stream all 3 of our channels live. You also have access to a large on-demand library, including daily newscasts and full sporting events. To find the app, go to the store and search CCX and download our free app. Then sit back and enjoy all of your favorite local content. Now available on Roku and Apple TV.
Welcome back here to Park Center for the Pirates Holiday Showcase. This game matching the Champlin Park Rebels and the Minnetonka Skippers. Some icy roads earlier today, but these teams have made it here. Obviously for Champlin Park, it's not too far of a journey to come down here to Park Center. And as we said, they're going to look to build on that 2-point victory over Eden Prairie in their first game of this. It's a 2-day holiday showcase, not a bracketed tournament. You know who you're playing those 2 days coming in, but some pretty good teams, some pretty good competition each year, and these teams have both been coming to it for a few years as well. Let's take a look at starting lineups here as the Rebels, they're the visitor here today, and their lineup looks like this. Nicole Lillard, a freshman, along with Maya DuBose, the senior. Amaya Dory is a junior, as is Maya Fitzpatrick and Gina Stefarud. Michaela Counts, one of their top players, not playing today because of illness. And for Minnetonka and Coach Dasovich, their starting lineup looks like this. They've got Desiree Ware, we talked about her, a sophomore at guard, along with juniors Ella Durkee and Piper Terry. Sophie Hayden, a junior up front, and then Emma Dasovich, the 8th grader and daughter of Coach Leah And going to be a pretty good one, Carl. I know you're a little bit familiar with her, living out in the direction where you were coaching too, and it'd be interesting to see what she is like both as an 8th grader and then eventually as her career progresses.
Well, it's really impressive for an 8th grader to be playing varsity basketball in the first place, but especially to play varsity basketball in the Lake Conference, one of the most physical, talent-laden conferences in the state. If you can crack the lineup as an 8th grader there, you must be exceptionally talented.
There is Josh Steck, the Rebels head coach, and I think they were definitely energized by their win yesterday. Really played well in the first half. Then things got a little scary in the second. Eden Prairie actually briefly took a lead, but then the Rebels prevailed down the stretch. Minnetonka in blue, and they have it to start out. Here's Ware with it out on the wing. Rebels look to throw a double at her and try to go down low with it, and there's Dubose with the steal. Dubose is quick. Nice ball rotation here, and an open look for 3, and knocked down by Dory, and Champlin Park on the board first.
And the Rebels coming out with some full court pressure. A zone. They drop back into a 1-3-1.
Ooh, looked like a travel there, yes. As Sophie Hayden was looking to get an extra step before she put it down on the floor, and a little bit of a delayed whistle, but I think definitely the right call. So a turnover on the Skippers, and Coach Dasovich was a little bit worried about, how do you bounce back? They played, not only did they have kind of a tough loss, but they played at night last night and then a 1:30 start Saturday afternoon. And as much as you'd like to think, well, they're kids, they'll be fine, there might be a little bit of time for them to get going here.
Especially over the break, sometimes kids don't have as disciplined of a nighttime routine. They might stay up a little later than they should, and that's always a challenge for high school coaches to deal with over the break.
There's a bump as Dasovich trying to move her feet, got it into the body of the dribbler there, and will be called for the foul. And that happens for coaches, I think, too, right? Or announcers, I know that. I mean, things change a little bit and your schedule gets thrown off. Dubose will inbound here for Champlin Park. And that's going to be a 5 count. Rebels took a long time to get anybody free, and they'll have a turnover there.
Minnetonka switched the screens, which made it more difficult for the Rebels to inbound the ball.
I think sometimes you have to go from we're looking for a play to attack to just getting it in, and they didn't end up kind of making that transition to somebody just cutting open. Nice feed inside, and the layup is good for Hayden, and Minnetonka on the scoreboard.
Skipper's got a nice matchup in the post there against the pressure. Ended up with a big post against a guard.
There's Stefferud stepping out and nailing a 3 at Champlin Park. Both their first 2 baskets are 3s, and they lead at 6-2. And their pressure giving Minnetonka some trouble, and ultimately a turnover forced. Another 3 coming from the top, and it is good again. Maya Fitzpatrick, 3 different Rebels have hit 3s already, and they jump out to a 9-2 lead. So they're looking ready to play here right from the get-go. Force the turnover and then calmly knock down a 3.
One of the things we talked about in the pregame is not allowing Champlin Park to dictate the tempo. I don't think this is the kind of tempo that Coach Dasovich may have expected, though. I think she thought that they'd sit back in a zone and try and play a slower-paced game, but the Rebels are bringing some pressure. They've kind of got the Skippers a little disoriented, and I'll be honest, maybe this is why I'm not in coaching anymore, but I can't tell what defense the Rebels are getting back into. I mean, at times it looks like they're playing man, and at times it looks like they're in a zone. So, hopefully during this timeout, Coach Dasovich can crack the code and continue to get favorable matchups like they had with Hayden in the post just a moment ago.
I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking the same thing. I started to say they're in man-to-man to start, and I was like, okay, they let that cutter go that time, and so they've done a nice job of confusing the Skippers and maybe us a little bit too with how they've been playing D in the early going. I think they probably saw a little bit of Park Center having success putting pressure on Minnetonka and might be looking to use that to their advantage too. Quick trap in the backcourt. Durkee working it up the sideline. There's Dubose coming back for the steal. The thing I remember most about Maya DuBose these past years is just jumping in passing lanes or attacking a dribbler. Oops, there's a pass stolen by Ware, though. Ware going all the way and had it blocked. Izzy Quick coming off the bench there and makes the block. Izzy was on the state tournament team in soccer for the Rebels this fall and has been a 4-year varsity player. Not getting the start today, but comes off the bench and quickly gets a shot block there on what looked like it was going to be a layup.
I'll tell you, my experience is soccer players make terrific defenders.
Ware's jumper spins out, rebounded by Fitzpatrick. And they tried to go to DuBose, and that one didn't quite connect. It'll be a turnover on the Rebels, and Minnetonka gets it back. Subbing in for the Skippers, Molly Omi, number 22. Well, you look at both these teams, and they're young. Not a lot of seniors in the lineup. There's a steal quickly for Fitzpatrick. Then DuBose couldn't quite handle it, so they'll restart out top. Lillard looking to turn the corner, and some traffic missed it. Skippers working it up the sideline. Defender falls inside, and that'll be a layup +1 as Hayden receiving the pass. A defender fell, and that left her all alone, and then the help arrived late, and it'll be a foul call against Lillard.
And Izzy Quick went down grabbing her ankle. She's up and walking around now, but they're going to sub her out and perhaps have the trainer take a look at her because she was definitely grimacing in pain as she hit the floor. That's going to impact the Rebels' depth. The style of play they're playing right now with the pressing and trapping, they have to be able to go at least 2 or 3 deep into their bench, so that could impact whether or not they continue to press.
Free throw good. Hayden has all 5 points for the Skippers. Quick is walking around, and she's actually telling the trainer, I'm good, I'm okay, I'm going to walk it off here. I thought she was going right to the locker room, but she was just kind of taking a stroll over there behind the bleachers to test that ankle out. From the top of the key, won't go, and a nice rebound in traffic there by Omi. Here's Hayden down low. Nice up and under and lays it in. There is still room for post players, apparently, Carl, in high school basketball.
Some of that analytics-based basketball has filtered its way down to the high school level, though. You're seeing a lot more driving the lane and kickouts for threes and not a lot of traditional post-ups.
That's a travel, yep. Shuffled him there, Nicole Lillard. So in for Champlin Park, Amelia Valentino, number 15. Another look at this nice up and under move here.
Good shot fake, too. And that's a skill that I don't seem to see in players as much anymore. You don't see a lot of shot fakes. It's something you really have to coach.
Tori McKinney, 14, an 8th grader in there handling the ball right now for Minnetonka. Coach said she's skinny, but she can play. Here's McKinney receiving it here. Ware with it back out top, knocked away, but she recovers it as DuBose is putting the pressure on. Skippers being forced out away from the basket here by some pretty good defensive ball pressure. Ware got a screen and banks that one in. It didn't seem to be too soft up there, but it bounces around and drops, and we're even at 9 as Minnetonka's overcome that slow start.
That looked like a shot with the shot clock winding down, but no shot clock today.
When you're a shooter, those go in and it gets your confidence going, even if it seemed a little bit, not the prettiest shot and maybe a little bit lucky, but you get yourself going, and just by seeing the ball go through the hoop a little bit, I think that's what Ware's hoping anyway. So Ware taking the inbound pass. 3 early threes for Champlin Park, put them up 9-2, but now the Skippers on a 7-0 run. Ware driving it, had it knocked away, and it looked like it maybe was going to go off Ware, but then Fitzpatrick tried to grab it, and so it will stay with Minnetonka. Subbing in for the Rebels here now is 32, Milena Dilly starts. Down low they go to Dasovich, and the foul called there as Fitzpatrick will be whistled for the foul. Whistle kind of came a little late there, but looked like maybe there was some contact.
Well, the Rebels are mixing things up. They started off with some full court pressure back to something that resembled a zone, and now we've seen a couple possessions of good aggressive man-to-man. They're keeping the Skippers off balance.
Dasovich's first free throw is good, so Minnetonka takes the lead. Second one also good.
Skippers do have a decided size advantage, so if the Rebels continue to play man, we might see Minnetonka continue to pound it inside.
Tried to dump this one into the post, but instead it's stolen away by Ella Murray, number 15, who's also checked in for Tonka. Izzy John was the intended recipient. She's in the game, number 24. Oops, that pass will be out of bounds as Murray went to make a cut just as the pass was being thrown. So we're going to have a timeout requested here with 12:24 to go, and Minnetonka leading it 11-9. Been an interesting start to this one, Carl. We've kind of had a little bit of runs back and forth.
Well, I think Champlin Park obviously would have been elated with their start. Coach Dasovich was probably telling her kids, hey, settle down. They're not going to make every three they shoot. You know, it's 9-2 right now, but don't hang your heads, don't panic. And they've done a nice job of adapting to what the Rebels have thrown at them. The Rebels have tried to keep them off balance, but Minnetonka has demonstrated really good composure, especially, again, as you pointed out, for their youth. And the youth of both teams is really a trend that we've seen throughout the metro area over the last couple of years. I think there's a variety of factors. I don't think it's always just because, boy, we have a bevy of talented eighth graders. There's some other dynamics that contribute to it, but it's definitely been the trend. You're starting to see fewer and fewer seniors on rosters.
Drive and kick to the corner, but the Skippers recover nicely. Baseline attack there, and that'll be a foul call on McKinney as Amaya Dory drove it down the baseline and kind of got bailed out there. That was going to be a pretty tough shot.
You know, I think I saw some of what Coach Steck was talking about on this possession. He's talked about how he's trying to get his kids to adapt and run his system and embrace it. What I've seen on their first several offensive possessions is a lot of screening, a lot of back screening, which is something you don't see on a lot of high school teams anymore. And I'm a fan of screening. I think it's a really difficult thing to defend. They did that for the first 10 seconds of the possession, and then they kind of got away from it and became drive and kick, which is more of what you see in the summer, and it's kind of permeating high school basketball.
Inside to Dasovich, it won't drop, but she was fouled on the play as they have been able to succeed in going wing and then getting that post feed. And Izzy John got caught a little bit on the high side there, and Dasovich went right to the hoop. Didn't quite finish it, but free throw is good.
So far, what I've seen from this eighth grader Dasovich is she is physical enough to compete at the 4A level, and that's, again, a really remarkable thing. It's not something you see typically even out of freshmen or sometimes sophomores. So for an eighth grader to be able to bang with these big kids is really remarkable.
And both her mom and dad were pretty good basketball players, so not terribly surprising to see that she's going to be pretty good too. Good cut there, but the skipper is able to sag in and drop off and cover up for that. Minnetonka too seems to be doing a better job of just identifying who they're supposed to be guarding too, and things that early on they just got lost a couple of times and left some open shooters, but now we're not seeing much space to work with here. And that'll be a double dribble call as Dory driving into the lane just kind of had her dribble interrupted a little bit there and called for a double. So another good defensive possession by Minnetonka. They have really, after those first 3 threes, they've held them to one free throw since. And it's 13-10 Skippers. The other thing is when you're not making baskets, it's a little harder to set up your pressure too. And Champlin Park was succeeding early in part because they were able to create some havoc in the backcourt. Around the horn it comes, back out to Ware. And then that pass bouncing away as she looked to send it over to Clara Nesseth, who's in there.
That was a good defensive adjustment on that possession by the Rebels, though. The thing that they've been getting hurt with is they haven't had backside help in the lane. They've been able to lob it into the post, and there's no backside help. That time, they brought backside help. Hayden had to throw it to the corner, and on that ball reversal, they got the turnover.
Dory from the corner had it partially blocked, and Durkee the rebound. Here comes Minnetonka. Piper Terry into the middle, and a tough pass for Hayden. It was knocked away, and DuBose grabs it. DuBose turning on the Jets, goes all the way for the left-hand layup, and there's that speed showing up for DuBose.
You know, as a coach, you always tell your players, keep going until they stop you. Nobody stepped in the lane and stopped the ball there for the Skippers.
So Champlin Park back within a point now at 13-12. A dribble handoff and then a kick out to the wing. Piper Terry knocks down a three for Minnetonka. Good offensive set there for Minnetonka. DuBose getting it out to the wing. Fitzpatrick driving, and going to be a travel call as she made that spin move. Let's get another look. That pass deflected away, and watch DuBose. This is a true coast to coast. She grabbed that ball at the baseline, and I'm sure Minnetonka is saying, yes, she's fast, but we need to do a better job getting back. And then there's the kick out to Terry for three.
DuBose is looking a little winded, though. I don't know that she's been subbed out much at all here in the first half, and she's starting to look gassed.
Near steal there for Quick, and she's really been getting after it defensively, too, defending Ware. I'd rather have that than somebody who's saying, well, I can stay and play the whole game, but I'm not really going hard most of the time. Saved here off of Minnetonka's Hayden. It will be Champlin Park ball. So Quick, who did turn her ankle earlier, is back in there and playing right now, so that's a good sign for Champlin Park.
The Rebels have definitely made it a point to tighten up their paint defense. They're doing a better job defending the post than they had the first several minutes of the game.
Natalie Warrow, number 10, is in there now for Champlin Park. These teams have both gone maybe a little deeper on the bench than what they, were telling us before the game was a certain rotation.
And that's not because of foul trouble. Only 2 team fouls for Minnetonka, 3 for the Rebels so far.
Quick, a bounce pass to the baseline, but the shot left short. Pushed ahead there. The Skippers Tatum Miller, number 1, in there. Quick trigger, but that one left short by Dory, and here comes Ware. Over to Hayden, blocked, but a foul called there on Fitzpatrick. That'll be her second.
This has kind of been a slow run by the Skippers. After trailing 9-2, they're on a 14-3 run, but it hasn't all come in the span of 90 seconds or 2 minutes. It's kind of been an extended slow run. And those kind of sneak up on you as a coach. I think if I was Coach Steck, I might be thinking about calling a timeout here pretty soon, though, and settling them back down on the offensive end. I haven't liked the quality of shots that the Rebels have taken on the last 4 or 5 possessions. They need to kind of recalibrate on offense.
Hayden's second free throw is also good. She's had a nice start to the game with 9 points already for Tonka. 18-12 Skippers. Warwa bringing it into the front court and taken away from her by Miller. 2-on-1 the other way. Ware for the layup, and it's good. So an 8-point lead now for Minnetonka, biggest of the game. And a 3 look there won't drop, and then a foul going to go against Minnetonka, I believe. Yeah, as they got tangled up on that rebound. Nice rebound by Steffrud in traffic and kind of fell onto her.
She really skied to jump up and grab that, and she went up with 2 hands, but that's also part of the reason she came down on her elbow and banged herself up a little bit. She rebounded the right way, but wasn't in position to catch herself on the fall.
Dubois is inbounding here for Champlin Park. Yeah, they have struggled to find offense after those 3 early threes. Dubois is attacking here and was fouled as Miller got caught behind her a little bit, and I think that's when where you'll kind of learn that that's going to be a really tough shot. I'm just going to keep my hands off and back away there, even though you hate getting beat like that, but you don't want to bail her out with that foul because I don't think that was going to be a very makeable shot there.
I agree 100%. The first thing that came into my head was that was a bailout. If she shoots it, she's not going to make it, so we don't need to foul her and put her at the line where we can't play defense.
Dubois missing the first free throw, 1 more coming. Rebels have struggled in this aspect as well. Now 2 for 4 as she knocks down the second. So a 20-13 lead here for Minnetonka.
Shrewd move by the Rebels here. They're denying Ware and trying to make somebody else handle the ball. Ware is obviously their primary ball handler. So if they can keep the ball out of her hands, it makes it easier to play defense on the entire Minnetonka team.
Dribble nearly lost there, but recovered by Durkee. Here's Miller, the young 8th grader, had it knocked away. Minnetonka set to make a line change. They got 5 players getting ready. Oh, going to be an offensive foul here on Dubois. A little push off.
It's one of those calls that probably could have went either way. Tough break for the Rebels as they're trying to attack the lane, but good pressure and good footwork by the Skippers.
Omi inbounding, so 5 new players in there for Minnetonka in that last stoppage. Dasovic picks up her dribble and then the handoff.
Now she got away with the travel there.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe not a near travel, it was a travel. Dasovic dropping it off for the cutter there, and a foul as going up with it was Murray. Didn't quite finish, but was fouled on the play.
This is a young group out on the floor for Minnetonka, and one of the things that we see with them is sometimes they're dribbling for no apparent reason. They're just kind of putting it on the floor. They're not being pressured. They're not going anywhere. They're not trying to make a better pass. And one of the things that young players will learn is if they just take 2 or 3 dribbles and don't go anywhere, they make themselves a lot easier to defend when they pick that dribble up. So I would expect that the Rebels are going to pounce on that defensively and create a couple turnovers if the Skippers continue to kind of waste their dribble.
Murray hits the first free throw. Second one, no good. Dubois is looking to drive it, and going to be a foul call. She split between defenders, and they tripped her up. Those are ones that are, as a defender, I'm sure you're feeling like, was that really a foul? She just kind of tripped over me, but
I think that was a good call. The Minnetonka player was set, but they weren't squared up to the ball, right? I mean, they kind of grazed her on the side, and that's a pretty easy foul call.
Dubois' free throw is good as he would get another look, right? Yeah, she did get her leg stuck out. Definitely even more of a good call than I realized the first time is Murray. You realize the person sliding around you and you try to make that last little step. And again goes 1 for 2. So the Rebels leaving some points at the free throw line. They'd be a little bit closer if they'd been hitting more of their free throws. Little pick and roll here. Murray trying to go the other way, but the spacing wasn't very good, and it's thrown at the feet of Omi.
Good job of Lillard by sinking on the backside. She made that a more difficult pass. Had she not dropped, that's an easy layup for the Skippers. Got to tip your hat to the Rebels at this point, trailing 21-14 against a solid 6-3 Minnetonka team. Champlin Park without their leading scorer today, Michaela Counts.
John with it out high. Here's Izzy Quick. Izzy to Izzy. You don't see that all the time. Here's Quick going to the hoop, and a blocking foul there. Leah Dasovich didn't like it, but it's going to be Murray picking up her second in short order.
Rebels are definitely attacking the basket right now. You've got to adjust to the officiating. If the officials are going to call those fouls, maybe we'll see Minnetonka start to attack the lane a little bit more aggressively too.
Izzy Quick's free throw is good, as Fitzpatrick comes back into the lineup here for Champlin Park, replacing Lillard.
This is the first time I've seen Champlin Park play this year, but I get the impression already that Izzy Quick is one of those glue players. She's kind of that scrappy hustler that everybody kind of rallies behind, and she's kind of the heart and soul of this team.
Yeah, and along with DuBose, I mean, they've for sure played the most basketball at the varsity level as well for this team. They've been in the wars throughout these last 3 years and now into their fourth year. There's Murray open for a three, so she's had a couple of fouls lately, but done some nice things at the offensive end, knocks down a three right there. And that shot won't go in traffic in the lane there for Champlin Park's Dilly Starks.
She put up that shot almost seeming to expect a whistle and to get to the free throw line, because that's been the trend lately.
DuBose almost had a steal but couldn't avoid stepping on the sideline. Good aggressive read by her though, and nearly had the takeaway.
Almost walked the tightrope there.
And thrown behind Dasovich, but Ware is able to track it down.
It's one of the only times Ware has touched the ball in the last 5 or 6 minutes. Rebels have done a terrific job of keeping the ball out of her hands.
Ware going to take it all the way, hit the bottom of the backboard, and the rebound grab by Quick. Under 5 to play here in this first half. Fitzpatrick trying to go all the way and lays it off the glass and good.
It's the second time we've seen the Rebels have some success attacking the rim in transition. Perhaps that's what Coach Dasovich is going to address here during this timeout, is transition defense and sprinting back into the lane.
And I think Murray, after picking up fouls on the previous 2 drives, maybe laid back just a little bit more off of that one too. Yeah, they've seemed to have better success when they can get there before Minnetonka's really set in their half-court defense.
One of the things that's challenging for a coach too is, if I'm Coach Dasovich, her kids look at Champlin Park's record. They see some of the teams that they've lost to. They've lost to Chanhassen. I know Minnetonka's familiar with Chanhassen, and maybe the kids think, oh, all we got to do is show up and win. But you know, Champlin Park, they go to practice every day. They've got some athletic, smart kids, and they're going to give you a dogfight. You cannot ever just show up and win, especially in Class 4A basketball.
Yeah, and their win over Eden Prairie should have opened the skipper's eyes a little bit too in that regard. But you're right. I mean, it's as much as you'd like to say that isn't the case at any level. I mean, professional players do the same, where you're a little more hyped for one opponent than another, and it's just kind of human nature. But you have to fight through that. Rebels battling back into this one. Fitzpatrick trying to attack again. That time did not get a call, and it's knocked away out to midcourt, and Ware picks it up. Here's Ware all the way, but too hard with the layup. And he got a little off on her dribble steps there. Now it's Izzy Quick. Nice dish. DuBose the layup.
Nice 2-on-1. Good left-handed finish by DuBose.
And Champlin Park's back to within 4 at 24-20. For as long of a stretch they had where they struggled offensively, they've done a nice job to battle back into this one.
Rebels are in a 2-3 zone now. They were on the last possession as well.
Dasovich flashing free at the free throw line and calmly knocks that one down. She does not look like an 8th grader out there, and that's a compliment.
Tonka did a good job of finding the hole in the zone. That high post area is always a weak spot in the 2-3 zone.
And that pass was behind Dilly Starks, but then she didn't really go for it either. Knocked away, and the Rebels fortunate to not give up a hoop there. Quick bringing it back for Champlin Park. Fitzpatrick traveled. She thought about taking that three. She made one from there earlier, but then decided to put it on the deck. Wholesale changes again for Minnetonka in particular, but both teams have pretty much every horn sounding, or every whistle sounding, have been making substitutions. There's Dubose, nearly had the steal, but recovered by McKinney. And it slips through Ware's hands, nearly into that Rebels bench. And then Fitzpatrick knocking it away. You can see one of their goals is let's make life tough for number 3.
One of the challenges against this Rebel zone is, they've got some length up at the top of the zone with Fitzpatrick up there, and she's a difficult person to pass over.
I always feel like, too, the way this court is laid out at Park Center, it adds to the feeling of that you don't have room or time. The fans are pretty much right on you. You see the benches are right there. There's not much space, around the court compared to a lot of gyms. I think that adds to the feeling of, a little bit of claustrophobia if you're the dribbler that picks up your dribble or whatnot. So Ware will go to the free throw line here as we're now into the bonus. So 1-on-1, and she hits.
Champlin Park has gone 5 deep on their bench, which, again, I haven't seen them play before this year. I don't know if that's typical, but I do know they've had 6 different players score in double figures so far this season, so it's not unusual for them to have very balanced scoring.
Yeah, that's their list, even in yesterday's win, was like that as well. John giving it off, Fitzpatrick, and then Dubose will shoot it up from the corner, but short, and Ware a nice rebound. And Dubose ran her down from behind there, and then get a tie-up.
Great hustle by Dubose, trailing that play, and then Fitzpatrick knocked it loose. The way she did it is not the way she's probably coached to do it. You don't ever want to come over the top. You want to come from underneath. When you come over the top, you tend to get the foul call. She got away with one there, perhaps, but great hustle by both players.
8-point lead for Minnetonka as Champlin Park hits the front court here with about 2:15 to go in this first half, and Ware nearly had the steal but couldn't quite squeeze it.
That's a really long pass to initiate your offense, and if it's not stolen, that's what's going to happen. It's at least going to get knocked away. You got to get inside that volleyball line, that first green line, closer to the three-point line. I always called that the attack zone. You don't want to ever start your offense outside the attack zone. Too long of a pass. And she just did it right there, just outside the attack zone.
Quick into John, and she scores it. Izzy John's first basket of the game. A lot of Rebels boys fans remember her brother Theo, now playing for Marquette on a state runner-up team at Champlin Park. Hayden was hot early. They've defended her better of late. Ware missing that one, and it bounces around to the shortest player on the court, Miller.
That's one of the dangers of playing the zone. You don't have everybody accounted for when it comes to boxing out, and you have a tendency to give up more offensive rebounds.
It will be Minnetonka basketball as they inbound right over there in front of the Rebels bench. Piper Terry back in, and will trigger it in for the Skippers. And that's going to be a body foul there as Dory got up and bumped McKinney as she was going up to shoot.
Yeah, she kept her hand straight up, but she kind of hip checked her there, and that's one where sometimes players they'll keep their hands up and kind of look at the officials like, what'd I do wrong? Well, your lower half is what created the foul.
And a lot of players, you see, they have their hands straight up and they kind of keep walking forward into a shooter too. And obviously McKinney's a kind of a slender frame and everything too, so it looks worse because she went down because of the bump. So she makes 1 out of 2 free throws. 7-point lead for Tonka. John looking for the cutter.
Excellent basket cut.
That just didn't quite work out for Dory. Terry right into the teeth of the defense and draws a foul.
I think Champlin Park's best offense has been when they're moving without the ball and they're setting screens. The slashing and driving has helped them get to the free throw line, but they haven't scored off of that other than drawing fouls and getting to the free throw line. So I think that, and this is one of those things that Coach Steck said they're learning. When they move without the ball, instead of relying on the dribble to score, they can be pretty dangerous on offense.
Terry's first free throw is good. By the way, that was the third foul on Fitzpatrick, so she'll be sitting for the rest of the half for sure here for the Rebels. Only player with 3 on either team. So now the lead is 9 as Terry able to make them both here for Minnetonka. And that's certainly one reason that they're ahead in this game. They've shot free throws much better than the Rebels. And Miller with the steal. Miller driving it, and layup is good, plus a foul. As Stefferwood will be called for the body foul there. Miller will get a chance for a 3-point play.
That all began with good help defense. The reason that she ended up getting the steal here is because she helped on the penetration, she plucked it away, and then she had the presence of mind to drive the lane, and really impressive to finish with the contact that she got and earn a free throw.
Free throw spins out. So the lead is 11, biggest of the game for either team here. Izzy Quick driving it and will be called for the travel as she tried to make a little pivot and spin move there.
It's another one of those where I think she was expecting contact and she's throwing it up there, anticipating getting a foul call. And when you don't, it ends up being what looks like a bad shot.
45 seconds to go in the half. Minnetonka's lead has grown to 11. McKinney getting it off to Hayden, now Miller. Hayden open for a look from the outside, no good. Rebels looking to push it up court here. John back out. Approaching 10 seconds to play here in this first half.
That could have been a foul there. And now there will be one, which will put the Rebels at the free throw line with 3.7 seconds left.
Miller was hustling after the ball, but kind of ended up running right over somebody who was reaching for it. So Miller will pick up her second, and free throws coming here for Valentino.
Psychologically, it would really be helpful for the Rebels to be at single digits going into halftime. Just knowing the way that kids and their minds work, it feels completely different when you're down by 9 as opposed to being down by 11. And it shouldn't, but it does.
Gets 1 out of 2, so the lead right now at 10. Here's Terry, a last try, but that one about went through the glass as she made a last opportunity there from way out deep. So we have reached halftime in this one. And Minnetonka leading it by a score of 33-23. A red-hot start for the Rebels as they made 3 early threes, but the Skippers have had the better of things since then. We will take a timeout and come back with first half highlights and more here from Park Center High School. You're watching the Park Center Girls Basketball Holiday Showcase on CCX Sports.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
33-23 Minnetonka here over Champlin Park at halftime. Let's take a look at our first half highlights in this one. And it was actually the Rebels really getting off to a nice start. Good ball rotation there and an open look for Amaya Dory, knocking down an early three for the Rebels, and then kind of a carbon copy. Gina Stefferud popping out to the wing to knock one down, and then they'll go from the top with Fitzpatrick. Those were their first three hoops of the game for them. They went up 9-2, but then never made another three after that. Minnetonka turning it over here, and you watch good speed. DuBose attacking. He goes all the way for the left-hand layup there for Champlin Park, but Skippers got themselves going a little bit too, and not on that one as Ware had it knocked away, but then Ware getting this steal here. Had it blocked by Izzy Quick coming back. Underneath look, and there is Hayden finishing, and she had a good first half and also drew a foul on that one, and then they worked it nicely around the horn, and here's her up and under. Little Kevin McHale move right there and finishes. And Terry getting an open look for three. That was only the second, or one of two threes made in the half by the Minnetonka. Terry, a nice dish over here, and Ware getting it to go there as they kind of controlled the latter part of the second half. There's the other three made by Ella Murray for Tonka. And look at Miller go. She's an 8th grader and looks like it, but she can play as she gets the layup to go for Minnetonka right there. Miller, a 9th grader, I'm sorry. There's a look at the scoring leaders as DuBose with 6, Fitzpatrick 5, and Dory with 4 for Champlin Park. Hayden with 9, Ware and Dasovich had 6 points apiece for Minnetonka. And Carl, kind of what are your impressions on what each team maybe needs to do to get themselves going in half two here?
Well, I think one of the things we saw in the highlight package is the way that Minnetonka was able to turn turnovers into easy offense. And that's really one of the things that separated them from Champlin Park to this point. The ability to not just get turnovers, but turn them into layups on the other end. And those are really difficult things to defend when you're going one-on-one or in a fast break situation. So I think not every turnover is created equal. A turnover that you throw out of bounds where you have the chance to get back and set up your defense is not the same as a turnover where somebody picks your pocket and goes the other way for a layup. And the Rebels have been burned by a few of those. You kind of pointed this out, but after a really hot start by Champlin Park, a 9-2 lead, Tonka has really controlled the game since then. Since the opening 2 or 3 minutes, Minnetonka has outscored the Rebels 31-14. And I think we're going to have to see some more disciplined offense by Champlin Park. Instead of just kind of driving and throwing up shots, hoping to get a foul call. They've got to work the ball around a little bit more, set better screens for each other, and try to execute what Coach Steck is calling.
Minnetonka basketball as we begin half number 2. Ware with DuBose out defending her. Now Terry driving into traffic, no good off the side of the backboard, but she got it back. Hayden had it knocked away, but it was a foul. I think it'll be on Izzy Quick on the reach-in perhaps here. Nope, actually it's going to be on Fitzpatrick, and that is about the worst possible news for them, as you can see on her face. 4th foul on Fitzpatrick. She had 3 in the first half. They didn't hesitate to start her in the second half, but she immediately picks up a foul.
Coach Steck just felt a punch in the stomach when he saw that foul on her. 17 seconds here into the start of the half. That really ties his hands, at least one of his hands behind his back when you take away one of his key players there with a 4th foul this early.
Second free throw is good by Hayden, so now 4 out of 5 at the line she is. So 11-point lead for Minnetonka as they go up 34-23 here early second half. Drive, but the layup won't go. Turnover there as DuBose takes it back. And a quick 3 spins in and out for Dory. Now Ware attacking, layup short. And then batted around, it comes back to Dasovich. Looking down low, Hayden flashing free. Looked like she would have had a shot right away, but she made it a little tougher one and scores it.
Izzy John did her best in the paint to defend that one. She was disciplined. She went straight up, but nice finish by Hayden to go up over one of Champlin Park's bigger defenders.
And there's Hayden with a block on Lillard.
That time the Rebels started their offense with a screen, but they got a bad matchup. And sometimes I would put that on the passer there. You got to recognize throwing it into a guard against a big post like that, nothing good's going to happen. So even though she's open, you may not want to throw it.
And that pass deflected and ultimately taken by Izzy Quick.
Good trap on the pick and roll by the Rebels there.
Quick lost her balance a little bit and had that shot blocked, and the throw ahead, Ware retrieving it. Good hands to come down with it, and Dasovich will score it. Wasn't the most artistic looking fast break, but it ultimately leads to a hoop plus a chance for a 3-point play.
Those were outstanding hands. That ball was at her feet. Now, she got a favorable bounce. I mean, it came right up to her hands. But, I mean, typically any kid that gets a ball thrown at their feet, they're not going to end up catching that ball. So, another impressive play by the 8th grader.
Dory called for the foul. The lead is at 15. Biggest lead of the game for either team here. Dasovich missing on the free throw. And then a nearly gathered in by Durkee.
Rebels got away with a foul there. She got checked out of bounds. And maybe a makeup call for the one on Fitzpatrick at the start of the half. Who knows? Tonka coming with some full court pressure now.
Dubois is looking to get into the lane and scores it. And a quick timeout taken by Josh Steck. So Dubois wasn't going to take no for an answer there.
That's interesting, seeing Coach Dasovich decide to try and change the pace up a little bit as she's expanded the lead to about 15. Now we see this timeout by Coach Steck on the made basket, and it makes me wonder if he's going to come with some full court pressure, because as you pointed out in the first half, that's something that gave the Rebels a nice start. They were able to make some baskets early and set up their press, and then baskets have been few and far between, so they haven't been able to set up some full court press. So maybe he sees this as an opportunity to take a timeout off the make and get out and establish some pressure and try to turn the tables on Minnetonka.
Here's a look at Class 4A rankings. And again, if you're watching this live Saturday afternoon, tune in tonight or else come down to the gym here at Park Center. Hopkins versus Park Center, number 1 versus number 3, 2 unbeaten. Is going to be a great matchup. Wayzata is also having another great season. Their only loss was to Park Center here on this court. Maple Grove also in the top 10 at number 7. So some great basketball around the area. I had a chance to watch Centennial on Friday night when they played Cooper in the tournament over at Roseville, and they've got another nice team too. And then the bottom half, as you see Minnetonka in there at number 14. Eden Prairie is the team that Champlin Park just beat on Friday night. So a lot of teams, if not directly in our viewing area, then they're also in the conferences that our teams play in too. So a lot of great basketball around.
Yeah, the game tonight's going to be outstanding, and it should be a really fun atmosphere here.
Yeah, I was thinking coming into this afternoon, this will be a perfectly good game, good matchup and everything, but obviously the marquee one is the night number 1 versus number 3. Down low, nice feed. Dasovich getting it inside. Hayden couldn't finish, but is fouled. A little high-low look there for Minnetonka.
That is probably the single toughest matchup on the floor for Champlin Park. They don't have anybody that can match up with the length that she offers, that Sophie Hayden offers.
Later in the first half, they did a little bit better job defending. They were getting some really easy stuff to Sophie early in the game. Now makes a couple of free throws as she's had a good start to the second half as well. Already 5 points in the half and 14 for the game. Oh, and Ware read that one and nearly had the steal. Lillard, as soon as she was starting to let it go, was like, uh-oh, that one's not going to get there.
We almost had another one of those turnovers into an easy layup there that have haunted the Rebels to this point.
Dubois and Ware has been an interesting matchup. At times they've each had their good moments. Dubois shooting it up under pressure, that one banking out. Scramble for the rebound, and Ware emerges with it. Minnetonka leading by 15 early in the second half and doing their best to try and pull away. Hayden looking inside. This time it's Dasovic posting and getting the feed from Hayden, and another foul going against Champlin Park, and they're starting to stack up on the Rebels a little bit here.
You were talking about the matchup between Ware and DuBose, and I'll tell you this. DuBose is going to be one of the tougher defenders that Ware sees all season. I mean, she's been able to match up with her step for step. She's got every bit of quickness that Ware does, and Destiny Ware's not going to see that a lot this season. She's not going to go against guards that can lock her down the way that DuBose has. But you just saw it there on the shot that we had. DuBose is winded, and we're not even 4 minutes into the second half. It takes a toll when you're defending an elite player like Ware is, and you starts to show up on the offensive end. Maybe you're not as efficient offensively, but it's been a heck of a matchup between the two of them so far.
DuBose bringing it up court. Ware defending her, a 16-point lead, and there's an errant pass taken away by Murray. And travel. I always think on a play like that, and not to pick on Ella, obviously, but sometimes players, when you're starting, even when you're 5th, 6th grade, you do these drills where you're hard jump stop and then pass and things like that. And sometimes you watch players and they think, well, I already know how to pass. I'm just kind of going through the motions. But you get that footwork down when you're younger. Then turnovers like that don't happen. There's Izzy Quick powering it up and in. A 14-point game after the bucket by Quick. A little crossover there, and then a foul on DuBose as she tried to rip it away from Omi.
That's a tough foul. She was in very good defensive position there as Minnetonka tried to make the pass with their post ceiling on the backside, but might have got a little bit of the wrist. Tough one, though. When you're in good position and you have a chance at a steal, it's always tough to get whistled for the foul there.
Miller will come back in, and she will trigger the pass in here for the Skippers. Inside to Hayden, and yet another foul going against Champlin Park. This, I think, will be Izzy John picking it up.
Well, this is where it starts to get frustrating if you're Champlin Park, when you look up at the scoreboard and you see 6 fouls to 0 just 4 minutes into the second half. But you've got to credit Minnetonka. They have attacked the rim. They've gotten the ball inside. And when you get the ball in the paint, you're going to draw more fouls. I mean, that's just the nature of the game.
Yeah, and really the bad part of that wasn't so much the foul itself, but letting that ball be inbounded in that great of a position. Yeah, second free throw way short. Quick out of there with it here, but Champlin Park, you get the feeling that if they're going to get back in it, it's kind of, and there's DuBose popping a 3. It's going to have to come, a little bit at a time. They don't seem like a team that's probably capable of putting together huge scoring runs. They're going to need to play solid D and chip away. Runner there, no good, and Quick up in traffic rips down the rebound. DuBose was fouled on the dribble drive there.
Well, this is an important shot for Champlin Park, again, to keep them within striking distance. This game, you kind of have that feeling that it's about ready to tip away from them and get out of reach, especially if DuBose were to pick up a 4th foul here. I think you could really see things spiral out of control for the Rebels. So this is a key stretch.
As it is, that 3 brought them to within 12. Quick setting a screen for DuBose and then gets the return pass. And she'll be called for the carry as DuBose on the left-hand dribble there, a little hesitation dribble, got her hand underneath it a little bit.
As one of the few seniors for the Rebels, her demeanor is important right now too. How she's going to respond when the fouls are going against her team, when she has a key turnover there. She can really lift them up here if she starts to play inspiring basketball and demonstrates some energy and some intensity.
Here's McKinney with a runner in the lane, no good. Rebound tipped around, eventually taken by Minnetonka's Durkee. And a 3 attempt from Murray won't go. Scramble and a fight for the rebound, then a triple team in the corner, but they get it out to Quick. Steffrud did a good job not panicking, and then Izzy Quick is fouled.
That was a great rebound by Steffrud at the other end. She jumped really high in the air to grab it, and then it was still a loose ball. She had to chase it down into the corner, which is a tough place to pass out of, but she was able to make that pass, and it results in a foul and free throw opportunities at the other end.
Yeah, when you have somebody, they're triple teaming you way in the backcourt. If you get it out of there, you got to attack, and that's what they did. Quick's free throw is good. Ware checking back in after a brief breather.
And Dubose is going out. So this is a key time now for Minnetonka. They could make a run here with Champlin Park's best on-ball defender leaving the game. This might be a chance for Ware to make an impact.
Second free throw also good. Izzy Quick now with 6 points off the bench for Champlin Park, and they have trimmed the lead to 10. Can sense their bench trying to get the energy built up and the intensity on D built up. Back out, Terry's going to shoot a three. That one is way off target. And Quick, another rebound. Quick driving it, and going to be a blocking foul there against Minnetonka's Omi.
That's one where I got to admit I have some sympathy for the Minnetonka player, because I think she defended that pretty well. And in that case, Quick really just threw something up at the basket hoping to hear a whistle, and she happened to get one that time. But again, that's been part of Champlin Park's offense, and I know that's not what Coach Steck wants. I mean, no coach designs their offense that way, but that's the way that his kids have played at times, I think, to his frustration. When he gets them to execute and set screens and move without the ball, they've looked really good offensively. We just haven't seen that enough consistently out of them today.
Quick coming through with 4 straight free throws, though, and the Rebels have trimmed the lead to 8. And a nice job to jump in there. Dilly Starks the steal. And Dasovic will be called for the foul as Lillard looked to attack.
And that was an entirely different kind of a way of attacking the basket than the previous possession. She was going at the rim. She had a chance to make the shot if she got it off. She drew the contact. That's the kind of attacking that a coach likes to see. There's a really, I mean, to the untrained eye, you might say, well, what's the difference? Well, there's a huge difference when a kid is attacking the rim like she did, as opposed to kind of blindly throwing something up about 8 feet away.
Second free throw made by Lillard, and 42-35, Champlin Park. Just when it looked like they might be on the verge of really falling out of this one, have cut it to 7. I think defensively is where they've really fought their way back into this. All of a sudden, it's a lot harder for Minnetonka to get anything. Terry, the drive and finish. That was a big tough one there.
Big shot for Minnetonka, but you're right. The thing that the Rebels have done so effectively defensively is they've defended the screen and roll, that side pick and roll, and there was a dribble handoff they got steals on.
Hayden erasing what looked like a layup for Stefferud there. Ware down low to Dasovic and was fouled as they got caught on the top side a little bit, and Stefferud kind of paid the price a little bit there, as I think she got one in the chin or mouth there, but is called for the foul, and Dasovic will shoot free throws.
I think what we saw there has been Minnetonka's best offense. Just go 4 out, throw it into a post. Champlin Park has a really difficult time matching up with the quality of Minnetonka's posts, and as we said, Champlin Park's defended the side pick and roll really well. They've gotten a lot of tip passes. They've gotten some steals, so you might just want to simplify things at this point if you're Minnetonka.
Lead is back to 11 now at 46-35 as Tonka getting 4 points in a row. Ooh, that pass nearly getting away. Long distance 3 put up there and short on the rim by Valentino. And then we'll get a tie up here. Possession arrow will stay with Champlin Park.
That shot was about 3 steps behind the 3-point line. That was a long distance.
Lillard the inbound here for Champlin Park. Valentino giving it over to Quick.
Something that's been impressive about Minnetonka defensively is their kids can defend every spot on the floor. You don't see a mismatch. When they have a post end up on a guard, that post is able to defend the guard at least adequately, if not well. And that's something that you don't see out of a lot of teams, where your 5 can defend a 1 and vice versa.
And Minnetonka there doesn't get a steal, but just by playing solid D for long enough, eventually Champlin Park turned the ball over.
Yeah, other than Ware, we haven't seen a lot of players for the Skippers jump passing lanes, but they're always in the right spot defensively, and that makes, sometimes that's all you have to do, just be in the right spot and make the other team beat themselves.
Dasovic getting a layup there, and there's another turnover by Champlin Park, and just when they had clawed back to within 7, now all of a sudden there's another look at Dasovic swinging free down there.
But again, that was simplified offense, right? We have one person in the paint, 4 guards out, isolate that defender, and Champlin Park's had a difficult time defending that.
And the fact that they have 2 that can do it too, Dasovic and Hayden, they could kind of interchange. One can be out high, one down low. Nesseth back in, number 34 now for Minnetonka, played a little bit in the first half. Inside it comes to Hayden, missed it in traffic, and then was fouled, and that is going to be number 4 on Lillard. So Hayden will go back to the free throw line. They have made a living at the line here. Their 2 front court players, Dasovic and Hayden, here in the second half.
It was a great effort by Hayden. Something that as a coach, I always told our post players in practice, you always want to finish with a make. If you miss from a foot or 2 away, you keep fighting and you battle for that rebound, and you keep going up and you keep going up until you finish with a make. And that's a way to get better at finishing in the paint, is practicing that and having that mentality in practice where I'm not going to give up on the play until I've made it, and you keep battling for that offensive rebound. We saw Hayden do that on that trip.
So the lead balloons back to 15 now, 50-35, 8 in a row here for Tonka. Just a lot of traffic. Minnetonka doing a nice job of clogging the lane. Here's a pull-up jumper, bounces around and drops for Dory. So 9 minutes to go. The lead is 13 for Minnetonka. Where to Nesseth, might have traveled there. And we will get a tie-up. It will be Minnetonka ball.
Now here's something that Minnetonka's done to adjust to the way that Champlin Park's defending the pick and roll. They've started setting the screen much higher on the floor and spreading out the Champlin Park defense. Then it's more difficult to get that trap and rotate. So a nice adjustment by the Skippers.
Hayden will be called for a travel. It may very well have been an offensive foul anyway if the travel wasn't called. So turnover there against the Skippers. And that one knocked away. It will be off Minnetonka, so Rebels keep it. But again, they're a lot of dribbling, not really going anywhere.
Well, every time they put the ball on the floor, there's a Minnetonka defender there. I mean, Champlin Park's never getting to take more than 1 or 2 dribbles before they have to pick it up and give up the ball. Again, that's a credit to Minnetonka's defensive positioning. And that's being well coached. I mean, you see signs of it right there, the way that they're positioned on defense.
DuBose driving at a foul before the shot as she was attacking into the lane there, and the foul call going against Ware, I believe. Fitzpatrick with those 4 fouls now back in there. No reason to savor any longer here when you're down by 13. Good move there, but Hayden got over, and then Hayden came back in from out of bounds. Hayden didn't block that shot, but she certainly altered it.
And that was a good decision offensively for the Rebels by Dory. Instead of trying to go into that and get blocked, she pulled up and shot the jumper.
A foul away from the ball here and a hold against Minnetonka. It's going to go against Molly Omi. And a timeout taken here with 8:14 to go and a 50-37 Minnetonka lead. A reminder again, watch tonight. Hopkins and Park Center coming up, as you'll see. Well, those two are two of the best players in the state for sure, but there's a lot beyond them that are going to be impressive players to watch as well. And just should be, as Carl said, a great atmosphere in here. I know we're going to have a lot of fans beyond just Hopkins and Park Center fans here. A lot of coaches and players from other teams and whatnot, I would think, will be showing up for that one tonight as well.
In that game, with so many Division I players on the floor, fans that come watch are effectively watching a Division I college basketball game. I mean, many of those girls will be playing at elite schools in the next 8-9 months, and you get a chance to see them right here for a reasonably low price tonight if you make your way to Park Center.
And if you're not wanting to venture out on the roads, you can certainly watch it on TV or online here, ccxmedia.org, or on our TV channels as well. And let's see. Hayden ends up out of bounds. There was a three-car pileup in the lane there, and hard to pick out if anybody should have been whistled for a foul, so just kind of let it play and ends up out of bounds off Minnetonka. And they pass to Quick, cutting, and she's able to finish it in traffic. Quick is a good, strong inside player and able to fight right through the contact.
Nice out-of-bounds play here for the Rebels. Their posts were at the elbows, and they just did a simple cross in the lane, which is usually a pretty effective thing to do against a zone baseline out-of-bounds defense.
Quick missing the free throw after making her first 6. So the lead is 11 for Minnetonka. And there's a 3 knocked down by Durkee. Her first basket of the game. Plenty of confidence there as they went inside and then back out. And then a turnover on the Rebels as Quick threw it to the corner just as Dory was cutting.
Got to give a lot of credit to Minnetonka. Every time the Rebels seem to kind of chip away and it feels like they might climb back in, Minnetonka responds with a big basket at the other end. Rebels are going to come with some full court pressure here. Almost certainly with the intent of, if not changing the rhythm for Minnetonka, creating some turnovers.
They get it in the front court, but a dangerous pass there, but it arrives. Dasovich looking down low, and that shot blocked by Quick as Omi cut free. Omi maybe not quite the finisher as Hayden is in there, and that one blocked.
It was a really nice high-low look, though.
From the corner, can she do it again? No, short this time. And rebound, Quick just ripped it away there from McKinney. Ahead to Bose for the layup.
Champlin Park put some pressure out here. Again, full court. Going to try and trap the sideline.
McKinney to Dasovich, and a pass a little bit errant there for Omi. And boy, the Rebels have certainly succeeded in what they've been attempting to do to make Minnetonka play faster here.
Well, I'll tell you what the Skippers did on the previous possession. They broke the press, and then they didn't feel compelled to shoot it right away. And that's what the Rebels want them to do. They want to make them play faster. They want to make them shoot fast. Minnetonka broke the press and then said, all right, we're going to run some offense. That time, they got in a little bit of a hurry and got the turnover that Champlin Park's trying to create. Minnetonka is in a 2-3 zone now.
Back out for DuBose. Rebels trying to figure out how to attack against this. Oh, nearly turned it over.
Well, I'm going to take it back. They're not in a 2-3. It's just that the Rebels were just kind of standing in 4 spots on the floor and not making Minnetonka move much defensively.
Fitzpatrick, the handoff to Quick and then back out. Fitzpatrick just got it away there, and then a turnover. McKinney will drop it back out now for Durkee.
You can see Coach Dasovich holding up her hand, signaling, slow it down, slow it down. The clock is your friend right now when you're up by 12 inside of 6 minutes.
It's a tough thing to realize that in your head too, that you don't necessarily want to go into an all-out stall, but you want to take your time, get a good shot like that.
Yep, and that's just it. Nobody's talking about just holding the ball for the rest of the game, but you've got to be prudent. You've got to make sure that you're taking an excellent shot, not just settling for an open shot, but let's get a good quality shot here. It's okay to take 30 seconds off the clock.
And quick with a tough finish there, and she'll go to the line. Chance for a three-point play. She was able to fight through it, and that looks like a senior there, able to just fight through that contact and still take her shot.
She is willing her team to stay in this game. I mean, with plays she's making at the defensive end, ripping that rebound away, throwing the outlet up to Dubose, and then going strong here and finishing with the foul. It's senior leadership for sure. But she's battling and trying to keep the Rebels within striking distance.
Dasovich picking up that foul there for the Minnetonka. And free throw, though, not good. And again, although Quick has been good at the line today, the Rebels as a whole have not been nearly as good as Minnetonka. Dasovich almost had it knocked away, and then they recover, and now they're going to wait until Champlin Park comes out to get them. Dasovich will turn and shoot and hit. Boy, the great, obviously when it goes in, it looks better, but great patience there by the skippers to work the ball until Champlin Park gets just a little bit out of position and calmly turn around and knock down that jumper.
Minnetonka did a nice job of spreading the floor there, too, because they know that the Rebels have to be more aggressive and kind of chase the ball and take chances in passing lanes. And so when you spread the floor like that, you just become much more difficult to defend. And this is a tough spot in the game for Coach Steck, because you do have to gamble and you have to take more chances to try and create turnovers to get back in the game. But when you take those chances, sometimes a 12-point game turns into a 20-point game in short order. And so it's a risk-reward thing. If you don't change up what you're doing, you're going to lose by 12. And if you do change up what you're doing, you might have a chance to win, but you also have a chance to lose by 20 or 22. I know I was always inclined to say, well, I'm going to do what I got to do to try and win the game. I don't care if I lose by 12 or by 24. It's still a loss. And so sometimes you got to gamble, and I think that's what we're seeing the Rebels do on defense right now.
Inbounded here to Dubose, letting it roll to save some time. Lillard putting up a three, and she buries it. First basket for her. She has 4 points total. And the lead is 11. Then a turnover. Lillard coming back the other way.
Another chance for the Rebels to cut it into single digits.
Oh, and a traveling call there on Dory.
That's a tough one because it's an unforced error. That's not a turnover because the defense compelled you to turn it over. It's just kind of a mental mistake not getting the ball on the floor quick enough.
Hand off here to Ware. Under 4 minutes to play now. Desiree Ware way too hard off the glass with that runner, but Dasovich grabs the rebound, then ripped away by Dubose. Let's see what we've got. Tie up here. And it will go Champlin Park's direction.
That was impressive by Dubose, though. She is not a very stout figure, but her ability to rip it away from a post shows just how strong she is. She's wiry, but she's strong. With 3:52 to play, it's time to make a move if you're Champlin Park. You've got to cut into this lead and get it down to about 7 in the next minute and a half. Otherwise, Minnetonka is to the point where they can kill the clock.
Fitzpatrick giving it to Quick, driving it, oh, and just couldn't quite finish. Pretty good move there, but didn't get it to drop. Ware picks up the dribble out high, then DuBose knocked it away as she switched over onto Murray. But Skippers stay with it.
That was a dangerous pass. That's one that can easily go the other way for a layup.
Ware again gonna shoot it up and way too hard. Kind of looking for a foul there, but that's a shot they don't need. Fitzpatrick stepping into a three, but short.
Like to see some more offensive rebounders there for the Rebels when that shot gets up in transition like that. We should have seen 3 or 4 white jerseys crashing the boards.
DuBose looking to jump in, try and steal that one, but instead she got the arm of Ware, and it'll be her 4th. But not a bad gamble to take there, and Ware will head to the free throw line.
Well, we'll see how the next 2 minutes and 54 seconds play out, but DuBose cannot feel bad about how she's played today. She has absolutely battled and put it all out there against one of the best guards in the state in Desiree Ware.
Free throw is short. So the Rebels still have an opportunity here. Not going to be easy, but here's a 3, and that one is up and down for Dory. And here comes Champlin Park. They're within 8. Hayden back underneath for Miller at 5'2", trying to get that shot up.
That is exactly the kind of shot Champlin Park wanted them to take there. Low percentage shot, just kind of throwing it up in the lane.
And there's DuBose knocking that pass away, and then a timeout granted to Champlin Park before the Skippers could try and tie her up.
This is a big shot emotionally for the Rebels. Now the lead is to 8. It's as close as they've been in, boy, probably since the early minutes of the first half. And they've got a little momentum on their side with 2 minutes and 18 seconds to go. The thing that's difficult for Minnetonka here is, you know, you're in a position where I know with my team, when we're up by 8 with 2 minutes to go, we would not take a shot except an open layup. And we were going to say we're going to throw short, sharp passes and make them come foul us. We're going to take 30 seconds off the clock. That's as good as a layup at this stage of the game. But as you've kind of pointed out, sometimes you get a little tentative and the other team takes advantage. They jump a passing lane, and now suddenly it's a 4-point game because you're so timid and reserved on offense. So that's the tightrope that Coach Dasovich and the Skippers have to walk right now. You don't want to throw up shots like they did on their last possession where you just kind of throw up something in the lane and it ends up being an air ball. But you've got to be able to handle the pressure and keep your composure when a good defensive team is getting after you.
They came after DuBose pretty hard there when she was on the ground with the ball, but the timeout was granted before there was any potential foul there. So.
And it was a smart timeout by Coach Steck because there's not a lot good that can happen with your player on the ball, laying on her back with the ball on the floor. If she tries to get up, it's a travel. If she tries to pass it, it's a low percentage opportunity to pass out of it. So really astute timeout by Coach Steck.
So Champlin Park ball, they have fought their way back to within 8 now. There have been a couple of occasions when they've battled back just when it looked like they were ready to be run out by the Skippers. And a 3 from the wing won't drop. They tried to get Dory another open look, and that was a decent shot, but not able to make it. Knocked away, and there's Lillard with the steal. Missed the layup, however. Fitzpatrick gets it. No good, but was fouled.
The passes out beyond the top of the key, like the one that Minnetonka just threw, are the most dangerous ones, the sideways passes. And so you've got to throw those. They've got to be short. They can't be a 15 or 20-foot pass when the other team's gambling in the passing lane. It's got to be short, sharp passes, and no bounce passes at all up there in that spot because those are such a slow pass. They're stolen so frequently at this stage of the game.
Fitzpatrick not able to get the free throw to drop. McKinney coming back in here for Minnetonka.
Well, the Rebels have had their chance here. They got a nice look at a 3 for Dory, and now they've had a steal and a couple shots in the paint. that turned into free throws. They got 1 out of the 2 free throws, but this could be a 4 or 5 point game right now instead of 7. We'll see if the Rebels continue to get a few more chances in the next minute 53.
Inbounded to McKinney, and now Hayden looking to trap as they get into the front court. McKinney's in some trouble and will be called for the travel. Champlin Park has the ball back.
So right now, if I'm Coach Dasovich, the thing I'm going to tell my kids is we got to win this game on defense. If they don't score again, they can't beat us. So we might have a hard time executing on offense against their pressure, but we can win the game on defense by not allowing them to score.
Fitzpatrick looking inside. Pass was deflected and ultimately stolen. Not a great idea there on that pass. Back out to Durkee here. Rebels might be looking to take a foul before long here. McKinney gets rid of it in a hurry to Ware. Skipper's playing keep away now, minute 5.
You're still at a stage where you can kind of decide who you want to foul, but once you get inside a minute, you can't be as picky. Now you just have to stop the clock and get them at the line. And I don't know that Ware is the one that they wanted to foul, but we're getting close to a minute, and so maybe they heard the signal from the sideline to foul.
It is double bonus here, so Ware will get 2 shots regardless of what happens on the first one. And it's good. 7 points in the game for her. Dasovich will check back in here for Minnetonka. Ware makes a pair of clutch free throws there. Boy, 9 looks a whole lot bigger than 7 when you're at a minute to go. 59-50 Skippers. Quick down the lane and gets that little runner to go. Dasovich back here. Hayden gets it front court to Durkee. And Quick will be called for the bump as she tried to set the second part of that trap up.
Well, we saw it on this last trip for Champlin Park, but this is the stage in the game where you want to attack the rim hard because Minnetonka doesn't want to foul you. They don't want to allow you to get points with the clock stopped. And so you should be able to drive the lane pretty effectively without running into a lot of traffic and be able to convert some, semi-contested layups.
Durkee looking to knock down her second here as the lead is at 8. She's had a nice second half. 7 big points for Minnetonka and kind of a steadying presence too. Fitzpatrick stopping the dribble there.
Again, just very good defensive positioning by Minnetonka. Makes it difficult for Champlin Park to drive the lane right now.
Ware rebounds and is fouled, and that might pretty well do it for us here. A 9-point lead with 22 seconds remaining. It'll be Lillard picking up her 5th.
Really good execution in the last minute and a half by Minnetonka. They got stops on defense. They didn't allow any easy uncontested baskets. And then on offense, they were disciplined with the ball. They're making their free throws. If you can play good defense and make free throws when you're protecting a 3-4 possession lead, you're going to be really hard to beat. Just got to make your free throws and then play solid defense. Doesn't have to be spectacular defense, but play solid defense, box out, don't allow second shots. Minnetonka has executed very well here in the closing minute.
And Ware once again calmly steps up and makes a pair. So 63-52, Skipper is going to win this. Bounce back after their loss to Park Center on Friday night. And Champlin Park, a very nice win over EP on Friday, but not quite going to get it done here. Fitzpatrick gets the layup to go for the Rebels, and then a quick timeout. And the lead sitting at 9. So type of game that I think will do good for both teams here, certainly in terms of learning, playing against a good quality team and I think, also the chance to see teams that you don't always see. So having to adjust to not knowing all the personnel of the team and kind of learning on the fly what they do well and that kind of thing can be helpful, I think, too.
I think Coach Deck's got to be really proud of his team today, too. They've got one of their leading scorer out with illness. They've got another player that maybe hasn't been available as much as they would like, and they've still battled against a really quality Lake Conference opponent. Started off strong, did a lot of nice things, and I think that there's going to be a lot of things that they can learn from this loss. You know, as coaches, you always say, when you win, you teach, and when you lose, you learn. And Minnetonka did a little teaching today, and Champlin Park had an opportunity to learn.
Skippers inbounding here, and they find Ware, and defender slips. That allowed her a pretty easy avenue up into the front court. Looks like the Rebels aren't going to foul anymore here. And that is going to do it for our basketball game, as Minnetonka will win it by a score of 63-54. Champlin Park fighting back on a couple of occasions when it seemed they were ready to be maybe falling way behind, and battled back to within 7 once, within 8 once, and certainly made a game of it. But in the end, Minnetonka a little more experienced, a little more inside presence, and able to finish it for the 63-54 win. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this one, and again, a reminder to join us tonight for Hopkins and Park Center. Number 1 versus number 3 in the state. 2 unbeaten teams going at it here on this court, and you can see it live on CCX. Thanks for joining us for this one. For Carl Pearson and all of our CCX crew, I'm Jay Wilcox. Again, your final is Minnetonka 63, Champlin Park 54.